In 2026, the United States will celebrate its semiquincentennial. Let me explain. The United States will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Now, we've had similar celebrations in the past. Back in 1876, the United States celebrated our first 100 years and called it the Centennial celebration. America threw a massive celebration at the first World's Fair held on American soil. This was in Philadelphia. Now, this party was complete with the unveiling of the telephone and other great works of 19th century technological progress. And we started talking about this big old Statue of Liberty. Then, in 1976, came our 200-year anniversary. This was called the Bicentennial celebration. And this brought us fireworks, patriotic parades, bicentennial quarters, and more red, white, and blue than you could shake a stick at. Now, at 250, what's the word we'll be using for the celebrations in 2026? Well, that word is semiquincentennial. Semiquincentennial is the term that one should use when speaking of a 250th anniversary. And in 2026, we'll be using it a lot as we celebrate 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We can argue about the official birthday of the United States some other time, and I'm sure we will. Now, you might also hear the word sesquicentennial. So, let's ask, how do we get these words? First of all, this all comes from our very good friends, the Romans. Centennial comes from the Latin word for 100, centum, and the Latin word for years is ennial, so you get words like biennial, millennial. In 1876, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, or the Centennial celebration. Bi means two, so in 1976 was the 200th anniversary, and therefore the Bicentennial, 200 years. Now we come to the 250th anniversary, and it gets a little more complicated. Semi means half. Quin comes from Latin for 5, and centennial is 100 years, as we've already said. So literally it means halfway to 500 years, which, let's be honest, feels very optimistic. Sester comes from the Latin word sestertius, which means 2.5. The Romans used it as a unit of currency, literally meaning halfway between 2 and 3. So when you put it together, you get sesquicentennial, which equals 2.5 times 100 years, or 250 years. It's a mathematically precise way of saying 250th anniversary. Interestingly, sesquicentennial was actually the preferred term for a long time in academic and historical circles because it was more etymologically correct than semiquincentennial. But that is now the official term that's going to be used by the U.S. Semiquincentennial Commission for the 2026 celebration. So, in summary, sesquicentennial equals 2.5 centuries. Semiquincentennial means halfway to 5 centuries. Both mean 250 years. At the end of the day, whatever word we use, the celebration is what matters. We're marking 250 years of a bold, imperfect, ever-evolving experiment in liberty and democracy. It's a time to reflect, to celebrate, and yes, maybe even to finally learn how to pronounce semiquincentennial without pulling a muscle. So, whether you call it the semiquincentennial, the sesquicentennial, or just America's big 250, Let's get ready to make it meaningful and memorable. Until next time, safe journeys.